Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Rachel Strickland. I buy and sell a lot of designer items, and I have this series on my channel where I expose real bags versus fake and show you guys every intricate detail of what differentiates the two so that you do not get duped when you are buying a secondhand bag. The truth is, for one reason or another, not everyone wants to spend full price on designer items, and that doesn't mean you should be susceptible to being taken advantage of, especially not at a charity thrift shop where so many of these items are sold off as authentic, but they are not. So when I see the fakes, I am saving the next girl in line the heartache. I scoop them up, and guys, I destroy them here on the channel while giving you education and information about how to authenticate these bags yourself. This thing will not be resold, will not fool anyone else. Be sure to check out my other videos in this series, including authenticating Coach, authenticating Louis Vuitton. I have upcoming videos about Gucci as well. And if you have a suggestion for a designer product that you would like to see authenticated, just let me know. Without further ado, we're gonna get straight into it and reveal which one's the fake, which one's real. If you think you already know, go ahead and drop it in the comments. We're gonna check these things out in great detail. Alrighty. This does seem like a great place for a disclaimer about why I destroy these bags instead of repurposing them in any way. If you're curious, I do have a full detail out. I will place a card here as well as a link in the description about the disgusting truths behind fake and counterfeit bags. Not only are they illegal, they are tied to a lot of human trafficking issues, forced child labor, and toxic chemicals you would never want on or around your body. I do believe that that differentiates my authentication videos from a lot on YouTube, because I am not going to tell you today, but this is still a great bag and I'll still carry it. It is a fake. We are absolutely going to destroy it. Let's start out with a first inspection of these two bags. You can see we are dealing with a pebbled leather trimmed in cognac brown. One of these is meant to be an exact replica of the other. I was so happy when I found the fake because I knew I had the real one and I wanted to be able to show you guys. Now, in this particular instance, these are vintage bags, so there may be a couple dead giveaways right off the start. I did try to clean it, okay? But that just goes to show you the difference in the quality of materials. If these bags are the same age and they're supposed to be the same material, which a lot of people claim even an inauthentic bag, a fake bag, you know, the materials are still great. Why does this one look like trash when this one still looks like it just rolled out of the factory? That's because this one is fake. And I'm going to show you in great detail how to tell the difference. First, let's inspect the Dooney & Bourke all-weather leather creed and patch that is on the front. Guys, this could easily be an actual leather patch. I do want you to take notice of how sloppy the stitching is down here, especially at the bottom. One thing to look for on Dooney & Bourke is that the duck, there's a little bit of space between his back and his bill, and that checks out here. So this is definitely not something that you could look at this patch alone and tell a big difference. But notice how embossed, how raised up the duck's body is. I mean, it is noticeable even in this video how bulbous his body really is. Now let's take a look at the real one. It is a lot more flat and smooth. Again, we have the space between the bill and the duck's body, but notice the stitching around here. Notice how perfectly stitched it is. But down here at the bottom, we do still have a little bit of doubling up there, but it's nothing like the sloppiness that was the fake one. So all of the words are spelled correctly on both bags. This again is the authentic one, and one more look at the inauthentic. I will actually put them side by side for you guys. Let's take a peek at the hardware next. Now, Dooney & Bourke hardware is all supposed to be brass, and brass hardware definitely is not plated. It should never start to tarnish or turn. And you can see on this hardware, especially on this edge here, it has started to tarnish and turn. You're not gonna see that with an authentic Dooney & Bourke bag. I'll show you the hardware on it. This was brass 30, maybe 40 years ago, and it's still brass today, guys. There's no tarnishing, no turning. You can actually see a little bit of shimmer and shine there. Definitely not visible on this fake one. We're gonna go ahead and pull the handle up here and let's take a peek at how the handle is actually attached to the bag. On this real bag, you could actually pull up this brad and completely detach this if you wanted to. I've actually purchased some bags that were missing the handles before, but this is completely detachable. You could pull that up. Again, you're gonna notice nice even stitching all the way around. The stitching color is gonna be consistent with the color over here. This is just a really high quality made, all brass hardware. It is important to note every bit of the hardware is going to be brass. And let's take a look at the fake. One thing I see right off the bat is that this brad, not only is it not detachable, I wouldn't be able to actually pull this up. The brad sits right on top of the stitching. I feel like this stitching has a lot more yellow to it than the stitching over here. There could be some inconsistencies there, but yeah, definitely the brad is tremendously different. That one is functional. This one, well, it functions as far as applying the handle to the bag, but that's about it. This is all for decoration, where this has some functionality to it. This particular handle just appears to be attached to this brass finding via another brad. And if I take a look at the authentic one, it's actually stitched and stitched very, very well onto the top of the handle. Check out this particular stitch is something I see very consistently with a lot of designer bags, where a fake may have just stopped right here. They actually double over here and loop it. You're also going to see everywhere there is an exposed leather trim. You actually have that that polished, painted, what do you call that leather trim? But you're going to see that everywhere where there could be an exposed leather part that would start to deteriorate. Speaking of deterioration, I could bend this handle, and although there's a bit of rubbing here, there's not going to be any cracking. This is a vintage bag, but it is in really, really great condition. This leather was meant to have hands on it, and there's no cracking. Let's compare that to this. Again, just a doubled over brad here, and this appears to be just the material doubled over. There's no edge coat. I think that's the term. There's no edge coat on any of this. It's just doubled over material. Definitely very sloppy. Definitely not something you'd see in the real thing. And then since we are talking about a vintage counterfeit, look at this, guys. It has already started to show its age here, and not only do we have separation of whatever this faux leather material is, there's separation here as well. This is something that would be easy to look for and be able to deem this bag to be counterfeit right off the bat, because if it were real leather, because I'm not saying you're never going to have a problem with real leather, this would be suede material on the inside, and it's not. It's some, let's just open it up and see exactly what it is. Okay, this is the area that we're actually looking at here. I don't believe that this is or ever was leather. It looks like almost cardboard on the back there. Look at this, absolutely nothing close to a leather material. This is all synthetic. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this strap off. I'm interested to know what material is on the inside as the tubing here. I think it's really interesting for us to examine the inside of these fake bags. That way we know what to look for on the outside. Trust me, it's very telling. I'm gonna cut this strap off now. Sorry to have to cut so much of this off camera. It's just really hard and nearly unsafe to do it in the mid-air here. But you guys can see after I cut this open that we have like this piece of rubber piping. This might not be a whole lot different from what you would find in a typical bag, but this is tremendously different. You see the difference here that if this was leather, you would see suede on the other side, and this is just like some cheap fabric. So definitely not even a leather handle. Moving on, we're going to look at the authentic bag once again, and just the leather itself. If you've ever felt a really great pebbled leather, it is very thick, but guys, it is also soft. So while this bag feels like it has a lot of structure, it's also pretty pliable, to be honest with you, and it's very soft. Now the bag's definitely, it's rigid, it's not going anywhere. I don't want you to see a stiff bag like this and think, oh, it would be soft if it were leather. They're still very well structured. There's a reason these bags have held up for decades, but it's a soft pebbled leather. All around it is soft. Whereas the fake bag here, it's pretty well plastic. Listen to this. And on the reel, and the fake. It sounds like plastic. There's a lot more dampening to the noise here. Can you hear the softness? So yeah, I'm gonna say the outside of this bag isn't even a cheap leather. It's all plastic, guys. Sides matter. Let's take a peek at the sides of these bags. Now, listen, this hang tag can be for a lot of people a giveaway that the bag is real. Please don't ever think that. I actually want you to take a peek at this hang tag because if you inspect it thoroughly, you'll notice that even the hang tag leather is not real leather. Take a look at this. Absolutely not leather. I mean, not even a good cheap leather. What is this? It's garbage. So if you do wind up with a fake bag, don't dare think, oh, I can at least sell the hang tag, because your buyer's gonna be very disappointed. And this should be brass. A quick peek at this tells me immediately it's definitely not brass. You can actually see how it was cast up here, a few imperfections there. And look at that duck bill, definitely resting on the duck's bag. This thing's garbage. On the original Dooney, the ends of the zipper are tied in beautifully with this drawstring leather. It's tied directly into the bag. Isn't that beautiful? Also, the side pieces, which would attach a long strap if you had one, they mimic the front identical. On the fake bag, a lot less attention to detail. Again, it's just attached with a cheap brad. And the hardware that's supposed to attach the long strap, it's just kind of haphazardly attached here to one side. And unless on the other side, yeah, for this bag to even hang evenly on your shoulder, this one would have to be on this side to at least give it like a diagonal hang pattern. This bag's not even going to hang on your arm right. It is absolute garbage. Let's take a peek at the zippers. First, the zipper on the real bag. It's a plastic zipper, guys. A lot of people wouldn't expect something like that, but it is just a plastic zipper. Let's look at the fake one. Oh my gosh, these are nearly identical. It's another plastic zipper. I mean, the zippers, I'm gonna tell you, are very, very spot on. But look here, do you see all of this exposed leather? That's not really leather. That's definitely not something that I see on this bag. Again, you're gonna see edge coat anywhere that a leather trim piece would have just ended abruptly, and there's no edge coat here. But the zipper head will tell the true story on a lot of these vintage Dooney & Bourke bags. I bet you can tell right off the bat which one this is from. This is from the fake bag. They didn't even try. It's not even a YKK, anything of even a brand name zipper. You can see the paint coming off there, but I guess that could happen with even a brand name zipper. But this is just a cheap little zipper. Let's take a peek at the Dooney & Bourke one. Okay, first of all, it has this attached to it. This is a great little piece of leather here, and take a peek at that zipper head. That's right, the zipper heads themselves have the Dooney & Bourke branding. Now, I do see some enamel loss, some paint loss on the zipper head. Again, we talked about how that could happen with even name brand zippers, but the zipper head itself, Dooney & Bourke. Now, if you see a zipper head that's Dooney & Bourke, that doesn't mean the bag is 100% real. These are all pieces of a much larger puzzle, and everything needs to fit together, because how easy would it be for me to snap this zipper off, and swap the two? Believe it or not, we're not quite ready to look at the inside of these bags yet. I want to call your attention to the cognac leather trim pieces. When I move my thumb across here, it is a very, very tight. I am not able to get underneath this trim and move it. All of the stitching is looking very consistent with the stitching everywhere else. The colors are all the same. Even here, there's a little bit more raised, but there's nothing sloppy going on. Let's look at the fake. With the fake bag, guys, I could pull this completely up. And when I do, and I invite you to do that, because maybe a real one actually does have some big pieces like this. If you pull it back, does it look suede on the other side? I can pull this back and see the plastic. Get familiar with what real leather looks like. Look how narrow the margin starts here and how inconsistent it is as it runs along the edge of this bag. I think this is the most yellow of any of the threads so far. Looking closely, none of the threads even match, but definitely this is fake garbage. Let's rip this off and see what it looks like. Oh, you can feel like the glue and just how cheap these materials really are, you guys. It is glued on. You know, I'm already gonna say it. That's garbage. Flipping these two upside down, we're gonna take a peek at the bottom, and again, there's a big difference. If you haven't noticed, there's a lot of mimicking that goes on. This stud looks an awful lot like this stud, looks an awful lot like the studs of the feet. Everything matches. Now with a real leather bag like this, over time, even the bottom where the feet are will begin to sag. You're gonna see some rubbing on the corners. That's all perfectly normal. It's a part of the wear and the history of this bag, but it definitely does not speak to the authenticity of the bag whatsoever. On the fake bag, all of a sudden we have almost pyramid-like topped domes here. They don't match anything else on the bag. And one of the biggest differences, the real thing is connected with these leather strap pieces that are sewn on. Again, really tight, nice stitches, and these are just kind of pressed into the bottom of the bag. Dooney & Bourke used the same cognac leather that they used to trim the bag and the edges as the bottom of the bag. It's more durable than the soft pebbled leather, and the fake just put more fake plastic pebbled leather here, because what difference does it make? It's plastic and it'll probably hold up. I'm starting to feel a little sorry for this bag. She definitely looks a lot worse for wear than when we first started, but we're not done yet. We're gonna take a peek inside. Let's take a peek at the inside of this fake bag. There are a few good things that I see inside the bag. If this were a different model of Dooney & Bourke, you would have the pebbled leather on the outside and you would have a suede material on the inside. One of the telltale signs you might see in a different model Dooney & Bourke is if this particular leather were on the outside and was one solid piece, you would have the sueded side on the inside. Makes sense, right? But believe it or not, a lot of fakes will have a black leather like this with a brown suede. You can tell that it's two different materials right off the bat. Now this particular one, because of age, we can tell it's two different materials. So although they tried to make a suede lining on a model that doesn't even have a suede lining, they still use two different pieces because we know this not to be actual leather on the outside. So they had to fake it with a fake suede. So if you're able to tell because of age, pinching it or anything that it's two separate materials, that's usually a giveaway. It's not the back suede of the unlined leather. It is actually them just trying to trick you into thinking, oh, that must be leather on the outside, because you can feel the inside of the leather here. You already know what I want to do with this. Since we suspect it to be two different materials, let's go ahead and confirm that. Absolutely not the inside of anything, just a faux suede material that is glued on to a piece of cardboard, it looks like. Let me rip this open. To anybody that says that you're not paying for any type of quality when you buy a designer product, the designer is not giving you a cardboard interior. I can absolutely guarantee you that this suede was put there just to fool somebody into thinking that this was a solid piece of leather with that suede being on the interior. Another huge point and purpose to ripping these bags apart is feel the bag. Does it feel like there's cardboard in there? Does it feel like there's a piece of plastic that's broken or something? If you can feel these materials based off of an exterior inspection, you can save yourself a lot of time, energy, money that you didn't have to waste on a fake bag. That's garbage. This particular Dooney & Bourke model actually featured a pebbled leather interior on all sides, including the bottom, and you'll see that in our fake here in just a second. But a lot of times you do see, again, a suede material on the interior, but this one actually featured a leather. It's that same cognac leather. We have another snap here, and this is that sueded obverse to the leather that I keep referencing. You have a pocket on the inside as well, but that's something that's pretty specific to this model, so not really going to help you any in overall Dooney Bourke authentication. You do see a similar pebbled leather to the leather that's outside on the interior of this bag. On this side we have a zipper pocket, and even this zipper is branded, and the brand on this one is Talon. The stitching on the inside of this bag is consistent, it's even, it is again matching the exterior stitching, all of the thread is the same color. Going back to the fake bag, it looks like they tried to continue that pebbled leather, so they did get the memo eventually, just they weren't sure maybe on this one, is it suede, is it pebbled leather, so they tried to include both. We do have a zipper pocket on this side, consistent with the zipper pocket on the real thing, but this zipper is branded TH. Never really heard of that one. It's a much cheaper, lower quality zipper, and it looks like this pocket is attached to those brads that were attaching our handle. It's all put together with one piece wherever they were able to cut corners in that way. Something really important to look at is inner tags. This one honestly could be a dead giveaway for a lot of people, but I've seen people throw out or discount designer bags just because they said made in China. And guys, modern Dooney Bourke are made in China. They also have factories in Italy, and I think there's one other country. They were originally made in Connecticut, and at the time of these vintage, they were all made in America. So if you have a vintage Dooney Bourke made in China, it might be a dead giveaway. All I mean to say is that seeing a designer bag that's made in China does not mean it's not real. There are lots of designers who now manufacture in China, but let's take a look at what the authentic Dooney Bourke tag should look like. The authentic Dooney & Bourke tag is this beautiful, I hear a lot of people say red, white, and blue, but it's really not white. And if you're expecting a red, white, and blue tag, you might think that this cream color makes this one a fake. It is definitely like a creamy off-white, blue font and red border. But one really important thing to look for is on the other side of this tag. That's where you're gonna see the Dooney Bourke serial number. Now, some older bags don't actually have the serial number underneath that. They're actually embossed into the leather somewhere in the bag. So if you can't find a serial number, look for the serial number somewhere else in the bag, and it will be imprinted, embossed directly into the leather. Shout out to my thrift store for charging me only $8 for this vintage one, but writing on the inside of this bag. So definitely have to clean this one up. I'm bringing these to you guys completely uncleaned, but just goes to show you can find a really good deal on an authentic Dooney at the thrift, less than 10 bucks. Looking again at this fake, I was looking at this pocket that's just like attached via brads, and on the other side of this pocket, like they weren't even trying, you guys. Look at this. You can completely see that it's just a textile. It's not leather. You can see the trim pieces here. Like, oh, this thing, it's got to go. It's got to go. I made a slice in the top of the faux pebbled leather on this one, and look, you can just see the sticky glue. The bag's just glued together, and again, glued in over cardboard. If these were brass, they definitely wouldn't rust like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that oxidation causes rust in brass. Hey Google, can brass rust?
On the website metalsupermarkets.com, they say copper, brass, and bronze do not rust for the same reason as aluminum.
All right, Google supports it. Brass does not rust. So that's definitely not going to happen if any of the hardware were to be brass on this piece of trash. this. It's like a foam and cardboard. So the foam is there to make the leather feel more plush, I guess. This thing will not be resold, will not fool anyone else. Wait a second, look at this. This is only attached to the outside and it's not even attached to the inside where I thought it was just one piece going all the way through. They didn't even go all the way through. This is such garbage, you guys. We have a layer of cardboard, a layer of like a foam plastic, and then the stuck on fake leather as well. Oh, and then there's the fake pebbled leather on the inside. My hands feel so gross. It's probably a lot easier now to tell which one of these is fake, but tell me, did you learn something in this video? Was there something about vintage Dooney Bourke that had fooled you in the past, but you'll never be fooled again? I know there's an argument to be made, hey, if someone wanted that in the thrift store and knew it was fake and they wanted to carry it, so be it. That is their own concern. There's no harm in that. But I beg to differ. How many of those bags would have at some point wound up on the secondhand market, websites like eBay, Poshmark, whatnot, Mercari, and possibly even innocently and inadvertently sold off as the real thing? Not only is the buyer at risk of buying something fake, but the seller and their account is at risk. If I had left this crummy fake in the thrift store, imagine some new reseller around here jumping for joy that they found a vintage Dooney Bourke, trying to sell this and immediately having their account either suspended or taken down. It was worth the money to buy this and trash it and destroy it. I will probably add it to the burn pile where it belongs. As for this one, you can look for it to be in my eBay store very, very soon. The link to all of my stores is always in the description. I appreciate you guys so much for watching this video. Please help a small channel like mine by giving a like. Share this video with someone who also needs to authenticate Dooney Bourke, and consider subscribing because I would love to have you here. As always, thanks for watching, God bless, and remember, treat your business like your business.